My windshield be straight up getting jelly. Jelly, 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 jelly. Straight up getting jelly. Every time I crank my music up, my windshield be straight up getting jelly.
Every time I crank my music up, my windshield be straight up getting jelly.
What's up, everyone? I'm Rocktown SPL, and this is Q&A with a bass music artist. Rocktown SPL. I came up with this name, first of all, me being from Little Rock, Arkansas. Not born and raised, but spent most of my life here. So we usually call Little Rock Rocktown. So I figured I'd go ahead and stick with that. You know, kick some shots back to Little Rock, where it got started. SPL stands for sound pressure level. That's a term that you hear in a lot of the car audio competition circuit. So put the two together, Rocktown SPL. From what I understand, there's not been any other bass music artist from Arkansas per se, or from Little Rock especially. But I'm not going to claim that I'm the first. But I wanted to be able to tie that back to the city where it all started. In my case.
I heard it over here. I heard it over there.
Bass music has always been a part of my life. When I was a kid growing up in the old neighborhood, I used to hear the cars with sound systems pass up and down the street almost every other day. And some of them would make my bedroom window shake. And I got curious of what that sound was. And I go run over to the window and I open the blinds and I see this car with some tricked out paint job and wheels on it, and it's just making this noise, and it's just causing my ears to just, you know, it's just this weird, deep, like kind of warm sound. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was, you know, just, it blew my mind. And the closer I got to it, because it went to a friend's house, the closer I got to it, the louder it got, and just feeling the vibrations in my body and all. And it was something crazy, you know, something I experienced as a kid. And so some of my influences were just those early hip hop songs that had those deep, long bass notes, and, you know, seeing these guys with the sound systems, and one of a friend of mine, I managed to, he gave me a cassette tape by this artist named DJ Fury, and the song was I Am Bassman. And so that was probably the earliest first copy of a bass music artist that I received, and that's how it got implanted. I took this cassette, played it on my little boom box, tried to take the speakers out of the boom box and modify a shoebox and make a band pass box to make the bass louder and deeper. You know, I did all those experiments, you know, when I was at least like 10 years old, I want to say. But yeah, it just kind of, and then I would play it in the, you know, my mom's car or you know, whoever's vehicle that had a cassette tape, and play it and whatnot. And if we ever go to the store, I would try to, you know, would go to like Walmart or can't remember the other place, Circuit City. Used to have a huge bass music collection of like tapes and CDs, and I would sit there and skim through and try to, you know, because you couldn't listen to anything, because I think the listening stations didn't come till later. But I would pick out a tape or a CD, and I would sit there and beg if I can. I would sit there and beg if I can get this tape or CD, and then when they buy it, my brother would buy it or so, and that's when my collection started to build. Before you know it, I had like at least 12 in all tapes and CDs of various bass music artists from DJ Fury, Techmaster PEB, Bass Mechanic, even had some SPL CDs like Bass Extreme, and so forth and so forth. So let's see, what was the first bass album you got? So the first bass album that I got was that DJ Fury I Am Bass Man on cassette tape. And I think I still have it somewhere.
Hair salon. They call my car the hair salon. Hair salon.
What was my first system and my most recent? First system in a vehicle would be 2 Infinity 12s, just the typical gray speakers with the black surround that you could get at like Best Buy. I think you get like $99. You get a pair for like $99 or something, because they always had these sales. Nothing too crazy, 250 watts. I built a box for them, and because I was still learning about everything else. I think I was like 16, 17 at the time. And I would take the speaker wires, disconnect the 6x9s in my 91 Buick Regal, and would connect each sub to each line that would go to a 6x9. So very rudimental, total novice whatsoever. So whatever frequency that was going to the 6x9, you could hear pretty much through the 12. And because it being a 12, which has a somewhat narrow frequency band, you couldn't hear the highs or anything like that. And I understand that now. But back then I was experimenting. So I had those 2 Infinity 12s, and I had like a broken glass neon light that you would plug into the cigarette lighter. And every time the speakers would hit, the light would flash, and I'd have that light like in the back window, and I thought I was the coolest thing. But that was my very first sound system. My most recent sound system would probably be like 2016, 2017. I basically progressed, learning more and more about car audio, and I was always experimenting with stuff, because with me DJing on the side, I would build my own speaker boxes, and just got confident enough where I would take it and play it at different places and whatnot. So most recent one was in a Honda Element. I was building a wall, and I built this wall probably about, I don't know, maybe about 35, 40 inches tall and about 35 wide, and had about maybe a 10-inch slot pass through so that you can like go to see inside it. The wall was split down the middle, and I had a sealed enclosure for a single Shock Industries Triton 15, which was good for about 1,000 watts continuous, or 1,000 watt, 1,200 watts peak is what it was. And a single 15 sealed enclosure, and then it fired into this open enclosure that had like a slot port that was about 8 to 10 inches, and it was in a Honda Element. I took out the back seats and kind of had it slid back a little bit so that all doors could be open and you could see it. I just recently got power wire from like 1-out power wire from DS18 because I was having power issues. I was running a 2,000 watt power inverter, and I was running a Behringer iNuke 6,000 DSP amp. That sound system, and I had all the doors were stock, and I just had that single 15. But because I had the DSP, the digital signal processors, I would run all the doors on one channel and then run the sub on another channel, and then I would adjust my frequencies and crossover points so that, you know, the doors wouldn't play the low frequencies, the sub wouldn't play the high frequencies, and basically I could turn up the doors a little bit more than factory without blowing them out or anything. So I had a pretty good sound system at that time, and it played, I mean, that wall played down to like, I want to say at least 10 hertz, I mean, it made the windows shake and everything on the vehicle. It wasn't like loud compared to systems today, but it was loud and clean, and it was the loudest that I had so far. But yeah, that single 15 shock Triton in a wall setup, sealed with a iNuke 6000 DSP amp.
Like a champ. Like a champ.
What was the loudest vehicle that I sat in? I'm gonna have to say it will be my friend Andrew's truck called the Black Nasty. It's a 160 decibel truck. That would have to be the loudest vehicle that I've sat in. He's got like, I want to say 5 15s, and I can't tell how many, probably well over 20,000 watts that he's pushing through it with capacitors. It's very, very clean and simple setup, but just unbelievable amount of sound. And I'm a big fan of car audio stuff. I mean, I make bass music for it, so I try to go and check out different people's sound systems, from, you know, a couple of 15s to full-blown 20, 30, 40,000 watt sound systems. Best bass memories. I got to talk with Alma Gates, who's, you know, from Arkansas. She's the one that did the big kicker Bronco build, precision power build. Had so many world records and trophies from when she was competing, and I got to meet her at Arkansas Blast, and we were standing at the tailgate of her Bronco, and she did a whole JBL SQ build with it, and we were watching a Blue Man Group from her tailgate, and I was telling her about my bass music and just, you know, just chit-chatting with this well-known bass competitor, and just, you know, seeing how down to earth she was and just really enjoying her company. I want to say that that was my my best bass music memory. What do I use to make bass music? I use software like Propellerhead's Reason and Ableton Live, and I'll use an M-Audio keyboard or a Novation Launchpad. And at first, I originally would use the bass drums that the software would have that would come with it, but I would listen closely to other bass music artists like Techmaster PEB, DJ Billy, Bass Mechanic, and you know, DJ Snake and MC80E and whatnot, and just really listen to their bass tones, and was like, these are not just your average whatever. So I had to figure out a way to come up with my own secret weapons that I use for my bass music. So anything from a short beat hit to like something that can last like 5 minutes. And I like to push things, I like to challenge things. I don't like to be conventional or let, you know, commercial try to modify me or whatnot. I like to keep it fresh and yeah, keep it fresh and interesting. So
Don't think we can last for 5 minutes? Well, I'm about to prove you wrong.
how many bass music albums do I have? I am an independent artist based in Little Rock, Arkansas. I have at least 8 bass albums available on Google Music, Bandcamp, and those mostly. We start over. I am an independent bass.
Warning, we are not responsible for the damage caused after playing this track. Please play cautiously.
I am an independent bass music artist based here in Little Rock, Arkansas, with 8 albums online available purchase or subscription. You can find my music on Google Music and Bandcamp. Future goals of Rocktown SPL. My future goals with my music is to get it out there more and more. I would love to get sponsorship, work with car audio manufacturers. I got the opportunity to meet the guys at DS18 when I was visiting family members down in Miami Beach. I got to check out their shop and see some pretty amazing builds that they have down there. Just really want to branch out, get my name out there more and more. I used to go to car shows with a CD in my hand or with an iPod in my hand and would be like, hey, check out this music that I made, and people would be impressed by it. And so I'm wanting, to make Rocktown SPL a staple. A lot of the guys that were big influences of mine from back in the day when I was a kid, I am now friends with on Facebook, like Mike Hampton, DJ Magic Mike, Brian Graham, DJ Fury, Neil Case, bass mechanic. And it's just, I also want to be able to meet these guys, face to face and just, chit chat, share ideas, learn from them, talk about the industry, and just, just one of those things, because I'm a new player in the field. My first album I released in 2010, and so just trying to get my name out there more and more and learn from these guys. Let's see here. That's pretty much it. This is one of my songs, My Bass Breaks Windshields. So I made this shirt. It's got a Camaro with a couple of 15s in it with a broken windshield, and would have all the logos on the back. But yeah, so I make these shirts from time to time, and I make bass music, and hope you enjoy. You can find me on pretty much all the social media sites as Rocktown SPL, and check out my music on Google Music. Once again, got 8 albums on there, from music that you can cruise to music that you can compete in the car audio lanes. Thanks for watching this Q&A with a bass music artist. I'm Rocktown SPL, signing out. Peace.
Here tricking with my doors wide open. Bass hitting so hard I got your girl choking.